Hello everyone, welcome to the new lecture series on computer architecture and organization. In this video, we are going to discuss about introduction to computer architecture. So what do you mean by the term computer architecture? What do you mean by the term computer organization? The benefit of learning computer architecture and organization, the evolution of processors, evolution of computers, and the job opportunities related to computer architect. All these things we are going to discuss in this video. So first of all, I want to discuss about the recent booming technologies and what are all the basic things you need to understand those technologies. So first and foremost thing is artificial intelligence. All of you know that this is the current very booming technology in the digital market. So in order to understand artificial intelligence, as well as if you want to develop an application in artificial intelligence, so you need to have basic knowledge in the hardware side IoT, as well as in the software side machine learning, deep learning, natural language processing, augmented reality, virtual reality, all these concepts you need to know. So in order to understand, as well as if you want to implement an application in IoT, so you need to have basic knowledge in embedded systems, RTOS design, and cloud integration. So whatever technology I have specified here, so in order to do some understanding, or in order to do some application or on these type of technologies, you need to have some basic knowledge in computer architecture, microprocessor and microcontrollers. So in order to build a microprocessor and microcontrollers, you need to have design knowledge in VLSI as well as HDL languages. So for all these things, you need to have basic understanding in analog as well as digital circuit. So in this slide, whatever I have specified at the left side are the very high technologies. In order to understand, even understanding those technologies, you need to have the basic knowledge in the topics what I have specified at the right side. In that one is computer architecture and organization. With respect to that only we are going to discuss in this lecture series. So the job opportunities related to computer architecture is that computer architecture is a field with which aims to enhance the performance of processors either through software or hardware. So it is a wild field and has got plenty of opportunities associated with. So let me discuss with each of them. First, the hardware part, you can there be building and designing one of the processor blocks. Many people are involved in development of memory hierarchies as well as floating point units. So companies like Intel, Qualcomm, Broadcom, ARM build their own processor. So once a significant part of RTL is done, design and verification team is set up to check the functional correctness of the RTL. So many such jobs are outsourced in India. So companies like NVIDIA develop GPUs, so which consists of a large number of streaming multiprocessors. And secondly, on the other side, software side, your knowledge on data structures play a vital role. Concurrent data structure are the new area of programming, so which deal with algorithms that can figure out maximum parallelism. So digital VLSI is also a good career choice and goes well with the computer architecture. So computer architecture usually called the front end team. After they finish most of their task, it is transferred to the back end team for VLSI work. So likewise in as we have discussed in both the hardware as well as software side, so we have plenty of opportunities if you have very good knowledge in computer architecture and organization. So next I will discuss you about the benefits of computer architecture and organization. So computer and architecture and organization focuses on the function and design of various components necessary to process the information digitally. So it also focuses on the interface between hardware and software and emphasizes the structure and behavior of the system. So we can certainly write high level programming languages without understanding how these programs execute. So we can use various application packages without understanding how they really work. But what happens when the programs we have written needs to be faster and more efficient, or the application what we are using does not precisely what we want? All these questions will be answered when you learn the concept about computer architecture and organization. So as a computer architect, we need basic understanding of computer system itself in order to rectify the question what I have raised. There are fundamental relationship between hardware and as many aspects of programming and software components in computer system. In order to write a good software, so it is very important to understand the computer system as a whole. So understanding hardware can help you to explain some mysterious errors like segmentation fault, bus errors. The level of knowledge about the computer organization and computer architecture that a high level programmer must have depends on the task the high level program attempt to complete. So next thing we will be discussing about the terms computer architecture and the term computer organization. The computer architecture refers to the attribute that has direct impact on logical execution of the program. So it include instruction sets, data types, and the number of bits represents the data, input-output mechanisms, and the memory addressing techniques. So the simplest way of giving idea of computer architecture is related to the architecture of a building. So in a building, architecture is basically plan of what different part of the buildings are to be used for. So it is an overall layout which decides functionality of different components of the building. For example, if it is a residential building, then it has living area, dining area, kitchen area, and balcony, and so on, right? So building architect makes plan for different part of the building. So as a computer architect, we will be learning how to plan our design, so that the efficiency of the system, the applications will be improved. So on the other hand, a civil engineer looks at the plan and the architecture of the building and the structural designing for the building. Civil engineer worries about how the building should be stand and it should be durable. So a civil engineer has to take care of the stress, strength, and durability of the building. So the relation we see between what architecture does for building and what a civil engineer does for building is somewhat similar to what a computer architecture does and a logic designer does. So therefore, computer architecture again a plan of overall functionality of the computer and what are all the basic operations it can be performed and how those can be sequenced. All this learning you will be getting after knowing about computer architecture. Then the term computer organization refers to the operational units and their instruction that realize architectural specifications. So computer organization attributes includes hardware details transferred into the programmers such as control signals, interface between computer memory and input output mechanism. From the point of view of organization, the computer is divided into three components: the processor, the memory, and the I/O processor. The memory simply stores the information written in it. The function of the I/O processor is to interface the computer to the outside world. The processor is a main part of the computer system. So its task is to execute the program instruction by instruction, right? The processor itself functionally divided into three components: control unit, arithmetic and logic unit, and registers. The registers are the fastest storage units where a few pieces of information can be stored temporarily until they are needed by the program. The ALU and registers are sometimes combined and are called as RALU. Next we will be discussing about evolution of the processors. The evolution of processors starting in the early end of 60s and at the start of 70s. The first evolved processor was IN4004 invented by Intel. It is designed for one electronic printable calculator designed by Japan. So this is the image of that printing calculator. So unlike the recent calculators, so when we type the input, so it will provide the output as printed papers. So as we know, Intel is a giant producer of processor. So in the early 70s, Motorola was the biggest competitor for Intel. So whatever processor Intel releases into the market, the same type of processor Motorola also released at that time. The first processor was IN4004. Second one is 4008. Both are 4-bit processor. They can able to process inputs of 4-bit size. The first 8-bit processor was 8008 and 8085 also an 8-bit processor. The 8008 has a 18-pin processor and 8085 is a 40-pin processor. The first 16-bit processor was 80186. So it is starting with a series of 80x86. So during these codes, Motorola also releasing the same set of processor with the same architecture. Sometimes Intel releases the processor into the market first, sometimes Motorola into the market. So the term called time to market, right? So whichever company comes with the product first to the market wins the market. So that strategy was followed by Intel as well as Motorola at that time. So both of them were very successful to release the product into the market. Very healthy competition was running between Intel as well as Motorola. The next processor 80286, 386, 486. So Intel was to make an end of this particular competition in the electronic market. So they want to win over the market with this their new product. So as here 80186, 286, 386, 486. So next expected release was 80586, right? So by winning over the market, so instead of releasing 80586, they came with Intel Pentium. Penta means 5, right? So Intel Pentium processor released. So they made a trademark to the processor and they win the market over Motorola. Then Intel Pentium 1, 2, 3, 4, Core Dual Core, now i3, i5, i7. The recently i9 10th generation is available in the market. So this is the small summary about evolution of processors. So while seeing the evolution of computers, the first generation vacuum tubes were used for designing the computer. This is the image of first computer. The size of the first computer is it is covered entire room. The second generation is the transistor evolution. So this is the second generation computer. Third generation integrated circuits. So this is the third generation computer. Fourth generation computer. So fifth generation computer, sixth generation computer, and so on. So the recent computers, whatever you are seeing, that is available with you, right? So this evolution could be possible with respect to the evolution of VLSI technology. So you might have experienced practically in your laboratories, right? So initially, for example, if you see in circuit 1 and circuit 2 laboratories, you may be giving working with the transistors with input voltage around 20 to 40 volts. If it is a normal BJT, so you will be giving 20 volts as maximum input voltage. If it is a power transistor, you will be giving 40 volts maximum. Then if you see your LIC laboratory, so you were worked with operational amplifiers, right? So it need a maximum of 12 volts input power supply. There comes your digital laboratories. So you are working with digital ICs. So it need a maximum of 5 volts. So as technology progresses, the input voltage required for operating your devices get reduced, as well as the size of the devices also get reduced. So if you see, for example, if you see a 1 GB pen drive, 2 GB pen drive, 4 GB, 8 GB, 16, 32, 64, 128, even 1 TB pen drive, are all of same size if you see. So it is possible only with respect to this the evolution of VLSI technology. In recent days, if you see your mobile handsets and all, the input voltage required for operating those ranges from 1.8 volt to 3.3 volt. These are all are possible only with respect to the evolution of VLSI technologies. So with this small introduction, I am closing this session. So in the next video, we can able to see some interesting topics. Thank you.